The Shaykh, he said, from the memorization of al-Imam al-Bukhari is that for you to think about the story that happened with the people of Baghdad. And Baghdad was the capital of the Khilafah at that time, and it was a place of students of knowledge and scholars. And Imam al-Bukhari was a man who was known for his memorization and his knowledge, so they made for him a big gathering and they welcomed him with they made a great scene about him coming. And what they did is they placed 10 men from the people of Hadith. Each man presented 10 Hadith to al-Imam al-Bukhari, except that he mixed up the chains of narration. So the Shaykh gave an example. He said, you know the Hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, the Hadith that actions are according to intentions. You know this is the Hadith of Umar. They might have made it from Jabir, for example. And a Hadith of Jabir, they would make it from Umar. And every time they would mention a hadith, they would say to al-Imam al-Bukhari, what do you think about this hadith? So al-Imam al-Bukhari would say, La a'rifu, I don't know this hadith. And then they would come to the second hadith and he would say, I don't know this hadith. Then they would come to the third hadith, he would say, I don't know this hadith, until they completed 100 hadith, 10 by 10, and each time he would say, I don't know this hadith. Those people who didn't know al-Imam al-Bukhari very well, they thought that he failed the exam. They said, how does he not know these simple hadith? He doesn't know them. So once they had all finished, he said, have you finished? He said, yes. He said, stand, the first one of you. So the first one stood. He said, as for the hadith in which you said this and that, the correct hadith is such and such. And as for the second hadith in which you said this and that, the hadith is such and such. And as for the third hadith, and he went on like that. Then the second man, he said to the second man, stand up. As for the first hadith in which you said such and such, the correct hadith is this. Until he finished correcting 100 hadith in order, along with the mistakes the people made. The narrator said, we were not impressed that he knew the authentic hadith. But what impressed us is that he memorized 100 mistaken hadith in one time, without repetition. And Shaykh said, look at this amazing memorization from al-Imam al-Bukhari.